Rotarians and guests, welcome to the February 17th meeting of the Rotary Club of York. Our members are dedicated to service above self and Rotary's four-way test. Leading us today in our song and pledge is Aaron Jacobs, and providing our invocation is President-elect Jackie Summers. Aaron.
Thank you, President Ann. It looks like we are on the Star-Spangled Banner. So let's stick with the program. Rotarians. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that was really fabulous, Aaron, especially given the fact that you had about 10 seconds notice on that and thought you were doing another song. So well done. Please join me in prayer. God of grace, you are our shepherd who walks with us through every valley. As we continue to navigate this challenging time, may we remember that even in the chaos and uncertainty, you are with us. Be our strength when we falter. Be our comfort when we grieve. Help us to entrust our circumstance to your care and transform our fear into faith. Protect your selfless servants who serve the needs of the most vulnerable with their hands and their hearts. Sustain and strengthen them as they offer compassion and courage. May our response to this time of extremes be one of determination, more focused, and more committed to what binds us together, and replace what separates and divides us with what connects and unifies us. Be with our speaker today as he shares his knowledge about the development of the vaccine, its effectiveness and availability. Bless our government leaders and equip them with the stamina and wisdom to make difficult decisions, and let them be a shining beacon of healing and harmony for our state and our nation. Bless the work of Rotary as we seek opportunities to connect, to serve, and to impact our world. We're grateful for this time together and give you thanks for the fellowship and friendship we continue to foster as we work in tandem to demonstrate service above self. For this and all you provide, we are truly grateful. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Aaron and Jackie. Members, we have several announcements today. Thank you to Rotarian Roger Miller, who's retiring from 4 decades of club membership. Get well wishes to our beloved Bert, who was able to join us today. She is recovering from a procedure, and we are so glad to hear that that was successful, Bert, and you're doing well. We all wish you the very best. Our deepest sympathy to Rotarian Denny Langford on the death of his wife, Candace, on February 10th. Candy and Denny were married for 4 decades. Candy worked for the McCrory Stores, Falscraft, and Miller and Company before retiring from the Graham Companies as executive secretary in 2004. She was very active in the York Women's Golf Association and served on the board of the York County Junior Golf Association and the Pennsylvania's Women's Golf Association. Denny, we wish peace to you and your family. Congratulations to Rotarian Austin Shank and his wife Charity on the birth of their daughter, Emberly Hope, on February 11th. Committees are the fuel to our community service and remain active during the pandemic. If you're interested in becoming involved, you're welcome to attend these upcoming committee meetings. Legacy and Planned Giving will meet directly after our club meeting today. Youth Exchange tomorrow at noon. Fundraising is this Friday. And our IDEA committee. which is now Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility, will meet on Monday at 8 a.m. A reminder to everyone that scholarship applications are due by March 31st for our 2 merit scholarships, Kaylee Rising Musician and the Smith Agricultural Focus Scholarships. Thanks for spreading the word on these 2 opportunities. And a special shout out and welcome to VIPs. We have Juliet Altenberg, who is past president of the Rotary Club of Mechanicsburg North, district governor nominee, and she is chair of our district safety committee, and other members of the district safety committee have joined us today for our interesting program. Now on to our business spotlight. York's own Kinsley Construction is a master builder with multiple offices to serve clients throughout the Mid-Atlantic. They deliver building solutions through pre- and construction management, general contracting, and design build services, as well as steel fabrication and erection, highway and bridge, site, rebar, materials, utilities, and industrial expertise. Community engagement is a core value, and employees are encouraged to donate their time and resources to make an impact. Kinsley participates in the annual United Way of York County Workplace campaign, American Red Cross blood drives, Toys for Tots drives, and many more. They focus on safety where their people come first, delivering quality combined with a commitment to meet schedules at no exceptions. Their sense of urgency includes empowering employees to take ownership and produce results. Managing COVID has been a focus on job sites and in their offices, with additional precautions to coincide with CDC guidelines. Thank you to Rotarian Jan Wagner for providing this business spotlight information, and congratulations on your 4 years as a Rotarian on Monday. Next, we have a poll, and this will feature Silas Chamber on Rotarian networking. Silas.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to talk a little bit about a concept that President Ann brought to me early last year, and it's been sidelined a little bit because of the COVID pandemic, but we're going to try out a concept called netwalking, and we're going to do a pilot event the week of Earth Day, which is April 22nd, so coming up here in the next couple of months. Netwalking is the idea of getting outdoors on a trail together as Rotarians in a socially distanced, safe way, and spending some time together exploring some of the natural beauty of York County. So I'm going to launch a poll that's going to help us determine when and where that week you would like to go on a walk together. If this is successful, then we could plan a couple more events in 2021. And the whole idea here is to not do a grueling expedition by any means, but to just go on a nice, scenic, or interesting walk together, 60 minutes to 90 minutes. And you can see we're asking you in the first question what time you would prefer to walk. So early in the morning before work really gets started, over the lunch hour, or after work. And we are having some longer days coming up here. So these are all timed to coincide with sunrise and sunset. And then what day of the week would you prefer to walk, on a weekday or on a Saturday or a Sunday? And then finally, where would you like to walk, which was the hardest question to put together because York County has so much amazing parkland and trails. But you can see we're offering two sections of the York Heritage Rail Trail and then some of our state parks and county parks that are a little bit further outside of town. So, and Chad Myers is asking how we can get trails on that list. I think it would be great to have UPMC sponsor the next netwalking event. You can come out and see the trails there. So it looks like we have a good number of people participating. Just take a couple more seconds to get your answer in. And then what we'll do is digest the survey results after the meeting, and we'll get back to everyone with the date and the time and the location, and we'll try out our first netwalking event together. So if you're about to click, finish clicking, and I'm gonna give it about 10 seconds and then end the poll. Looks like we have roughly half the people, 60% have voted. That's really great. And Still going up, still going up. Okay, I'm going to end the polling. And if you have any strong feelings and you didn't complete the survey, you can always email me or reach out. And here are the results so far. Looks like over the lunch hour was actually very popular, but actually good spread there across all the options. What day of the week? Weekday. I think it's going to be a weekday. That could work out nicely on a Thursday, which is actually Earth Day this year. And then where would you like to walk? The Heritage Rail Trail is very popular, which would be a nice leisurely walk on a flat surface for everybody. And it looks like the city of York, the beautiful city of York section, edged out Howard Tunnel just barely. So keep in mind, if your favorite wasn't picked this time, it could be in an upcoming net walking. And we will share more information as the date approaches. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot, Silas. We appreciate you sharing your expertise with us in this new opportunity for health and networking and walking as well. And if it's a Thursday, that would be a great opportunity to pit stop at Central Market, either to fuel up for the walk or to treat yourself for the exercise. So thanks a lot. I appreciate everybody participating. Thanks, Silas. And now we have an announcement from John Toy, chair of our membership committee, with a hybrid membership announcement. John.
Hello, fellow Rotarians, and thank you, Ann. Appreciate that. As chair of the membership committee, I first and foremost want to take a moment just to say thank you. Our club is strong only because of each one of you, and we appreciate you as a member. I hope we tell you that enough, and we want to make sure we continue to always impress that. As you all know, it's been a trying year, and we haven't been able to see each other's smiling faces other than through these small cubes on our computers here. Which is tough for all of us, but the committee's been working hard to try to figure out new and creative ways to recruit, as well as include more future Rotarians in our club. As a result, we have created a new hybrid membership, which you may have seen in the announcers for the past few weeks, and we're pleased to announce that it was approved by the board of directors. This membership style has been successfully introduced into other service clubs of all different types. It allows members to participate virtually if they are unable to commit to regular in-person meetings. It expands growth in our service to the community and removes barriers to membership for those busy professionals who increasingly are just unable to commit fully as an active member, but they do want to participate in Rotary and be a part of that. Hybrid members commit to participating virtually in club meetings at the same level that we would expect for in-person attendance. And we do try to monitor that. And as a membership committee, we're going to be working hard to do that. So we'll be asking them also to join a committee, be it virtually or in person. And their membership fee will include all the Rotary fees, except for the portions covering the meals. They'll be encouraged to attend club meetings in person when we get back to that as often as they are able, and they would be billed as an ordinary guest would be. It is available to new members, not to existing members. And we do recognize that just in today's world, as we're trying to all adjust, professionals are just having more and more trouble traveling to meetings during the week and time, but they do want to be a part of the great thing that is Rotary. And so we're trying to use virtual technology to benefit all of us, both existing members and also hopefully future members who may not ordinarily have been able to join the club. This is a beta test, so we can't say it's perfect yet, but I'm excited to say at our next meeting coming up March 3rd, we've already got one person who is applying for membership under this. And knowing her, I know that she will make a very strong Rotarian, provide the membership club, our membership committee lets her to come in, which I anticipate happening next month. So we're excited about this. If you have any questions, please let me know. And my big question for you is just, who do you know? Who hasn't been able to join for whatever reason it might be that could be a fit? And with the hope of eventually these people transitioning to full active members that we get to see every week together for our lunch gathering. So thank you all for the privilege of serving as a membership committee chair. And again, thank you for being a part of this great club and continuing to make it great.
Thanks, John. We appreciate your leadership of the membership committee and all those that serve with you. And thanks for the pivot on the membership hybrid opportunity. We look forward to many members joining and entering our club via that opportunity. And thanks to all for sharing that. Next, we have an update from Wilda Alessi, who is chair of our Human Resources Committee. Wilda.
Thank you, President Ann, and good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I first want to thank the HR committee and the interview team for all of their work and moving things forward under a very short timeline. And a special shout out to Brian Tate for taking the lead on the interview process. There's been quite a few plates juggling at the same time. So in preparation for the transition for Bert's retirement, the HR committee has been working to develop an employee manual and policies. We have a plan. We have planned to have that manual approved and in place before the new executive director starts. And Bert has also been working very hard in preparation for the transition, documenting administrative processes and procedures. So with the assistance of Ben Alott from Alternative HR in posting the job position and screening applicants, we had 38 candidates apply. Ben screened 11 of those candidates and 8 were presented to the interview team. From those 8, we narrowed it down to 3 for final interviews, and those have been taking place. So the interview team, consisting of board leadership and myself as chair of the HR committee, will meet with the finalists in person, and Renee will meet with them as well. So we hope to have an offer approved and the candidate selection ratified by the board by early March, with the new executive director joining us in time to have some overlap in the office with Bert for some knowledge transition. Thank you, President Ann.
Thanks a lot, Wilda. Appreciate everyone doing an excellent job in this important transition for our club and for our future. And speaking of our future, we have Dr. Maurice Jones, fellow Rotarian, joining us with a youth leadership update and our Students of the Month from William Penn. Dr. Jones.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. It's always a pleasure to be before you on this wonderful day. I first want to give, before I introduce the 2 students, I want to first give a shout out to one of our guidance counselors, Miss Alana Barnes.
Ben, did Dr. Jones freeze?
Push us forward as we promote our youth leadership. So I want to introduce to you 2 students, and our selection for these 2 students was not a difficult selection, because both of these students exemplify and definitely to the fullest degree show all the great and wonderful things that we're doing at William Penn Senior High School. So the first student I want to highlight is Naili Mariche. She is a 17-year-old junior here at William Penn Senior High School. She is the daughter of Father Augustin, as well as daughter of Mother Veronica. She has wonderful interests. First of all, she is active in our symphonic band and our concert choir, as well as the National Honor Society. I want to highlight her current GPA is a 3.89 GPA, and she has wonderful aspirations and her hobbies. Her hobbies are singing, dancing, baking, as well as playing a different host of instruments. She has been recognized in her distinguished honor roll, as well as the honors choir. Her future plans are she has a plan to go to York College, where she anticipates in majoring in biology with a minor in business administration. She has done some wonderful things here at William Penn Senior High School as being a leader in her own right, and she is an example of academic success as well as extracurricular prowess. The next student I want to highlight is Armani Walker. He is a 16-year-old junior, and as stated before, he's an example of the wonderful things that we are doing here at William Penn Senior High School. He takes full advantage, as well as Naili, take full advantage of the opportunities that are placed before them. He is son to Father James and Mother Kanisha Walker. He currently has a 4.06 GPA and is ranked first in his class. I want to repeat that again. He's ranked first in his class. He does a wonderful job academically. Some of the activities he is involved in, he is involved in the York Talent Church. He has been a part of that program since the 6th grade. He's a part of the National Honor Society. He has a lot of future plans, and he does a lot as far as volunteer work around the city. As we had mentioned before, during one of our summer programs, he had the opportunity to volunteer in different avenues and different businesses around the city. So he really enjoyed that and will continue that. His future plans are to major in computer programming, computer information and technology science, as well as anything electronics or computers. Some of his hobbies are playing video games, helping out his friends and families, cooking, as well as learning more about computers. As said before, his honors or his distinctions are in the York Talent Search, as well as the York College Community Opportunity Scholarship Program, the YCOS program. So we expect wonderful things for him as he continues with his future plans in information technology. So we can give a full round of applause for those two. We have a couple of video feedbacks from them.
Hi, my name is Naili Mariche, and I just want to first of all say thank you for choosing me for this recognition. And when I was told to speak about an activity or an experience that's important to me, one of the first things that came to mind was the York County Honors Choir. I became a part of the Junior Honors Choir when I first started. Hi, my name is Naili Mariche, and I just want to first of all say thank you for choosing me for this recognition. And when I was told to speak about an activity or an experience that's important to me, one of the first things that came to mind was the York County Honors Choir. I became a part of the Junior Honors Choir when I first auditioned in 7th grade, and I'm now a part of the Senior Honors Choir. And I can honestly say that it's a great experience. Honors Choir is like this big family, and it's greatly influenced me and instilled values in me like discipline, teamwork, dedication, and confidence, which is all very important. It's allowed me to network and make new friends, as well as inspired me to be a positive influence in my environment and to be more involved in the community. This inspiration has led me to want to better my community, and I hope to do so by going to college and studying medical humanities as well as business administration. Thanks again, and I hope to continue to make William Penn proud.
Hello, my name is Armani Walker, and one of my most important experiences throughout all of my high school years is when I did volunteer work for the last couple of weeks of my 9th grade summer. Now, I've done volunteer type work before, like since my neighborhood is mostly elderly, I've helped some of them shovel out the snow, like now. But back to the volunteer work, it was a really nice eye opener, to see the situations like around me, outside of my neighborhood, and usually when we did the volunteer work, it was mostly like cleaning around the park, or cleaning around the school, or cleaning around a dirty area of like the city. But probably one of the best times is when I went to this veterans thrift store, and where we helped clean, cook, and we cleaned inside and outside of that area, that building, and having a citizen come by and thank us really like uplifted me and made me feel good about myself. It made me like think I was doing good. Like I knew I was doing good, but this made me feel even better and reassured me. And having that happen to me really stuck with me, and I think about it a lot. So, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Thank you, Alana Barnes, guidance counselors, Naili, Armani. You are shining examples and positive influences for others. I did want to let everyone know that Armani's on the screen. Hello. And that Naili is on the call too, but obviously these two amazing students didn't get where they were by not working hard. So she is at work and wasn't able to turn on her video. She's on the call.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Armani.
Thank you all for choosing me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Appreciate
Your interests, activities, and aspirations and that hard work will take you both very far. We appreciate all that you've done to get to this point. And Armani, I think you're going to have to get your shovel ready because the snow's coming tomorrow. I bet your elderly neighbors just love to see you coming at their door. But we wish you both the very best in your future. Armani and Naili, you are both welcome to join us at any time at our club meetings. Hopefully we'll be back in person soon on a Wednesday. We'd love to treat you for lunch. Congratulations to you both and best wishes for your future. Both of our students will receive Scholastic Achievement Award certificates in recognition of this honor. And now to our program. Past President Jody Keller, will you please take the virtual podium to introduce our program?
It's my pleasure, President Ann. I would like to say good afternoon to our fellow Rotarians and guests, including these wonderful students. We couldn't be in better hands. I'm very pleased to introduce our speaker today, my friend Deron Shultz, who's the VP of Professional Services and Director of Community Pharmacy at Minnich Pharmacy here in York. Minnich is an employee-owned independent pharmacy that was established in 1946 by Llewellyn Minnich, who is the father of our fellow Rotarian Fred Minnich, who is now celebrating his 88th birthday. Minnich's Pharmacy is celebrating its 75th birthday and its 75th year, actually, of personal service and great service to our community. Deron is a native of York County. He's a graduate of Dallastown High School and University of Pittsburgh School of Pharmacy. He's a member of the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association, and he also serves on Pennsylvania's Medical Assistant Advisory Committee. Having deep roots in York County, Deron and his wife Stevie, who's a teacher in the Dallastown School District, and 3 sons, are active in sports and other activities that keep them very, very busy. Today, Deron's going to hopefully make some sense out of the confusion around available COVID-19 vaccines and the rollout, future vaccines, and potential side effects. I can't imagine a more timely presentation, so we're so excited to hear from Deron. Please join me in welcoming Deron Shultz to the Rotary Club of York.
All right, thank you, Jody, for that very kind welcome, and welcome Rotarians. I was there years ago for a luncheon when discussion on medical marijuana, so you do have a wonderful group. All those things are true that Jody talked about, my background. A few things to add real quick. I am the grandson of an independent pharmacy owner here in York. Went out of business back in the 1980s. So if anybody was around and remembers Shultz's drugstore, it was a Rexall store in the corner of Sherman and Market Street. That was my my grandparents' store, and that's where I grew up and kind of got my love for independent pharmacy. As far as vaccines go, I've got all these titles, but I'm really a practicing pharmacist. That's what I do first and foremost. I help our patients. I fill prescriptions. I counsel them. I initiated our vaccine program 10 years ago and continue to man that with our other vaccinating pharmacists on a daily basis. So this vaccinating of the community is a labor of love that we have here at Minnich Pharmacy. So let's go. So that's me. You saw me. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, so this is the race for new vaccines. I have 4 of them posted here. I'll go into a little bit about each. I know there's a lot of questions and a lot of information that we probably will get to at the end, but I do want to make sure we have a baseline or a level set where we are with the vaccines. So you see the first 2, the Pfizer BioNTech and the Moderna. Those are the ones that are currently available with a EUA, which is an emergency use authorization. And then the AstraZeneca, University of Oxford, and the Johnson & Johnson are EUAs are coming. So let's move on here to the Pfizer BioNTech. So we're going to talk about what kind of vaccine it is, or the type. You've probably heard the term mRNA, or you may not have. That is messenger RNA. And this is really how we get the immune system to recognize it's RNA that goes into the system. It starts to produce the surface proteins that the body will then, the immune system will recognize that, make antibodies, and have an immune system response to that. So you'll see 2 of the vaccines that use this type. So it's just putting an RNA of the COVID into the system so that protein can be made. It's dosed at day 2 and day 21. Do not take this as exact science. As I research this, yes, obviously day 1 you get your vaccine. Day 21 you may not be able to get an appointment. There may not be vaccine available. You may not be able to get there. So is it day 18? Is it day 35? The general science is I don't care when you get it, get the second dose. I have price on here, and you may be wondering why, because we're not paying for this. This is paid for. But the payment of this is kind of really answers the question is how did we get this vaccine so quickly? The federal government is paying for this. You can see that they paid Pfizer upfront for the first 100 million doses, $19.50. So do some quick math, and that is a lot of money. And that is what sped the process. If Pfizer was going to do this themselves and spend their own money to get this designed and through the clinical trials, it would have taken a much longer process. But being funded on house money by the government really got us up and running with a usable vaccine within about a year. The efficacy of this is about 95%. You really can't ask for anything better as far as efficacy rates of vaccines go. We get a yearly flu shot. On good years, it's 70, 80% effective. Some days it's 30, 40, 50% effective. So you're really looking at a very safe and effective vaccine. There are some studies, we've all heard about the variants that are out there, and we're seeing good coverage here with the Pfizer vaccine. The next, go back here real quick. The drawback on the Pfizer vaccine is it needs to be stored and shipped at negative 94 degrees. So that makes it very hard for any community practitioner to have this. So if you're receiving this vaccine, you're probably receiving it at a health system or a FQHC, which is a health center. They're really the only ones that have the deep freeze available to store this. The second vaccine we currently have available through EUA is the Moderna vaccine. Again, this is the mRNA version of vaccine, which we inject the RNA of the virus and have it again make those surface proteins to elicit the immune response. Here it's 2 doses, initial dose, and 28 days apart. Again, this is an inexact science. If you get it at day 19 or day 37, the important part again is that you're getting that booster, that second dose. Here again, the government pumping hundreds of millions of dollars into the design and testing of this vaccine. Again, just to share how the government is financing the development and the administration of this. Great efficacy again, 95%, which is unheard of really with most vaccines. And we are looking at good coverage against these variants. There will be more variants. Let's look at flu vaccine right now, and we get a quadrivalent, or their 4 best guesses of what they think the flu is going to be that year. COVID has not been around long enough to say, are we going to need a booster in 2022, 2023? There's a possibility, you may go get your COVID shot and your flu shot every year or every couple of years. We don't know, but it's being studied to see if that is something that will be coming down the road. AstraZeneca's University of Oxford vaccine. This is actually emergency use authorization in Great Britain and in Australia. The data has not been sent to the CDC to have this approved in the US. It's imminent. Within days, they are saying that data could be submitted. So these next 2 are going to be a different kind of vaccine. We call them adenovirus based. An adenovirus is a harmless virus that is in the air, and then we breathe it on a regular basis or eat on our food. They take that RNA and they put that in that virus capsule, and inoculate us with that. And again, that makes the surface proteins and elicits the immune response. Here we're looking at two doses, 1 and 28, days 1 and 28. The important part is getting dose 2 as close as possible to that 28th day. Again, price, look at all the money that governments and countries are pouring into this development and approval of the vaccine. Now, the efficacy of this is more likely what we see with a lot of viral vaccines that we use, around 70%. Still very good, but does not put it on the same level as the Pfizer and the Moderna. And the fourth one we have that is intimately be giving their information to the CDC, which is Johnson & Johnson. This is again an adenovirus based, which means we're putting a harmless vaccine into the body to elicit the immune response. The rest of this information is what makes this the game changer when it comes to vaccinating and getting people vaccinated in mass numbers. It's a 1-dose vaccine. There is no booster, there is no revisit. It's a much less expensive vaccine. Currently, we're showing 85% overall effectiveness. We won't have those final numbers until the final data is submitted for the EUA. And we are seeing some early science that there is will be coverage underneath the variant strains as well. Another huge bonus to this is the only vaccine that does not need to be kept in the freezer. It's refrigerated and good for 30 days. So as I said, when this hits the market, you will see this be a game changer. Let's move on. Everybody's favorite discussion. What are the phases of the COVID-19 vaccinations in Pennsylvania? I am not going to read all these. We've all seen this list, whether on the news or on our web searches. So this is who is it. We're currently in phase 1A. These should be the most susceptible and most likely patients who would have an adverse reaction to coming down with COVID, needing hospitalization, needing to be on a vent. We're all very aware of long-term care facility residents and what they went through with the initial outbreak. So they are currently the focus of the vaccination efforts. Obviously, healthcare personnel. There's a whole list there. Anyone 64 and older. Anyone 16 and older that has a underlying condition, immunocompromised. I think these are two areas in 1A that we're lacking the ability of getting vaccinated, are the immunocompromised and the patients suffering from cancer and going through chemotherapy, because we don't want them out in public. If they go, they're going for an office visit, they're going for a treatment, and then they're going back home, and those vaccines aren't available at the clinics where they're going. So this is a huge area where we're missing opportunity to protect our most vulnerable patients. Having a discussion a little earlier before we signed on, you'll notice teachers are not in 1A. Dr. Jones and I agree they should be in 1A, and how do we get them move there and get our children back to being educated in person. 1B, which they say is inevitably going to happen soon. We'll talk about vaccine availability and how that looks. These are our truck drivers, our grocery store employees, those working with people with special needs, prisoners, juvenile facilities, homeless shelters. There's a big issue we'll talk about with the underserved population, but that is what we have here in 1B. You'll see our postal workers, our manufacturers, our first responders, those really who prop up our lifestyles and keep us moving every day and keep us living will be in 1B. 1C is really, legal services, media, public health, the energy sectors, some construction. By the time we get to this level, hopefully we have some mass immunization efforts underway. And sorry, those like me, we're phase 2, and we'll get it when you get it. I heard we could be doing second doses as late as the fall in August and September. I'll touch on some of the conversations I had at my board meeting with PPA yesterday. The timing couldn't have been more perfect for this conversation. So that's just kind of a little touching on what the vaccines are, how they work, how they're available, and who can get it when under the current leadership from our state. So everybody wants to talk about side effects. It's really got a great side effect profile. Sore arm, little redness at site of infection. First doses, I hear it's more like a flu shot, not like a tetanus or Shingrix vaccine, who could be like 2 or 3 days of soreness. This is really maybe 1 day of soreness, a little redness, low-grade fever, a little bit of aches and pains. The second dose, now that is where we're seeing a much larger amount of complaints of side effects. Now remember, this is a booster, so you've already had that first dose. Your body has made antibodies, so it's really your immune system seeing those surface proteins that the RNA is making in our system and really ramping up and fighting that off. So a good chance of malaise, which we call just body aches, low-grade fever for 2 or 3 days. I'd love to see the science. I'm sure there's more men suffering from the side effects than women are, because my wife tells me I react to sicknesses about as well as my 9-year-old. So anybody out there in the education world, maybe that's a study we can look into. Original statement was, do not give this vaccine to anybody who's had to use an EpiPen for an allergic reaction. We've really stepped back from that. We are saying vaccinate, but to hold those patients for 30 minutes instead of 15 minutes to make sure there is no reaction that is going to take place. That's really it as far as side effects go. So it's got a really safe, really easy to work with side effect profile. Myths. Always like the TV show Mythbusters. mRNA will not incorporate into our DNA. The federal government will not be chipping us through this RNA being placed into our DNA and finding all these things about us. That is a myth. If we could do that, every genetic disease that we have loved ones, friends, and community members suffering from, we would have a way to fix that. We would go in, we'd rewrite the DNA, we would insert it with this process. So it just does not happen. I know you hear it at cocktail parties, you hear it at Zoom calls, you hear it from everyone, but it is a myth. This will not incorporate or affect your DNA whatsoever. I shouldn't get this vaccine because I've already had COVID. That is false. We want everybody vaccinated as soon as they can be vaccinated, depending on where you fall in the phases here in the state of Pennsylvania. The third myth I want to do away with is, if I had COVID, I'm going to have more of an adverse reaction to the vaccine than if I didn't. Again, no, there is no data out there to support that you will have more of the malaise, the fever, the not feeling well because you had actually suffered from COVID-19 in the past and your body fought through that. So during questions, if there's other myths or questions, we can obviously go ahead and address those as well. So here's some of my final thoughts. As I did say, I was at a I did have my board of directors meeting at the Pennsylvania Pharmacists Association yesterday morning, and this conversation took up probably 90% of our time. So number one, anything I just told you could change and be updated by the time we hang up off this call. Our administration in the state of Pennsylvania, I am being told, is very close in naming a vaccine czar. One of the front runners for that position is someone who's high up in the Pennsylvania National Guard. So that leads us to believe that there may be thinking of mass immunization opportunities in the state with the National Guard being involved. And a lot of that plays to the J&J, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is a one dose. So you get people in, you get them out. It only needs to be refrigerated. That's just a great product for mass immunizations. More to come on that. We'll see what happens and what kind of announcements come out of Harrisburg. One of my concerns, and one of the concerns of pharmacists all over the state of Pennsylvania, is how are we vaccinating the underserved populations of Pennsylvania? The information shows that we are not vaccinating them. And why are we not vaccinating them? And more importantly, how do we begin to vaccinate them? I think there needs to be allotment of vaccine to underserved populations. I think parts of signups need to be blocked off for underserved populations. But there's a great discrepancy in how the vaccine is being distributed at the moment, and that needs to be addressed to protect our most vulnerable of our population. I heard this morning beforehand, people were just got vaccinated or getting their second vaccines. I am being told that there are no first dose vaccines being shipped in Pennsylvania till probably the 1st of March, because they are so far behind on second doses. So most vaccines being shipped for the remainder of February are going to be second dose vaccines. Can change, but as of yesterday, the state of Pennsylvania was receiving 175,000 first dose vaccines and 145,000 second dose vaccines, but they're showing 0 available for shipment at this time. So lots of problems with the distribution through the normal channels coming out of Harrisburg at this time. Not sure if anybody checked out or looked at the state-sponsored website called Your Turn. It will tell you when your turn is, and it will send you an email if it's not your turn, but they will also then tell you, go try find a appointment somewhere. So it's great at telling you if you're available or not, but it's really not that useful in actually getting you an appointment. Vaccinators are not the vaccine police. We ask the questions, verify as well as we can if you're in the correct phase and are you due. One of the big things being used fraudulently is smokers, because anybody who's 18 and older and a smoker is in phase 1A, and there are people showing up and 35-year-old healthy individuals who are saying they are smokers and they are getting vaccinated, because there's just no. So there's, to my point, there's fraud out there, and vaccinators are working very hard to combat that, but that is happening as well. So that finishes up everything I had to get across and share with everybody. And I was hoping and expecting probably some questions.
Thanks a lot, Deron. We really appreciate your professionalism, your service to your industry and to our community, especially during these challenging times. And yes, we have about 7 or 8 questions lined up here, so we'll try to get through them as best we can.
Sure.
So you did mention the potential that could exist for an annual COVID shot. Would it be able to be combined with the flu vaccine in one jab in the future?
That would be the hope once we find out if it is an annual rebooster of of the COVID vaccine, is that we would do it all as one, and every fall you would line up and you would get it and move on. I think they're expecting the immunity from this initial round to last 2 to 3 years, but post market science will always tell us the truth.
Right. Well, thank you. You just answered a second question, but we do have another, and that is if the Pfizer vaccine must be stored at sub-zero temperatures, then when, a Rotarian asks, when I get my injection, were the needles just laying on the table at room temperature? Why is that? And does that affect the vaccine?
It does not. It's actually, and that's a great question. I left that part out. The vaccine it needs to be mixed, and then it's stable, refrigerated for 6 hours. So that's the importance on scheduling at this point, because you don't want to waste vaccine. So each vial is 10 vaccines. You need to mix that. That's good for 6 hours, and then you vaccinate with a refrigerated temperature vaccine, not that ultra cold. That ultra cold is just to keep it stable until you have that 6-hour window of where you mix it and vaccinate it.
Thanks, Deron. Now, Fred is certainly aware of this. I knew he was on the call today, and I'm not sure if you are, but Rotary has focused on the eradication of polio worldwide.
Yes,
so one of our members wants to know about the vaccine distribution to third world countries, given the current need for refrigeration or deep freeze. Are there any potential developments where this storage challenge is avoided? Example would be from a pill form. And in addition to this, what can we do to combat the seemingly growing anti-vax movement? So that's a twofer for you, Deron.
It is. We're America and Great Britain. We're not the only ones designing vaccines. I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole today, but Russia has one that they call Sputnik, which I think is pretty interesting choice of names for theirs. China has their own vaccine that they're using, Australia as well. But when it comes to this sort of vaccine, it's freezer or refrigeration at the moment, and there's no way to, problem with the oral delivery of this, it's got to go through the gut, so it has to be broken down, and it's a protein. It's the same reason why we don't treat insulin by taking it oral. We can't get it to pass through the gut because it's a protein and having it broke down. So that's really the limitations. And I'm hoping there's scientists who are much more educated than I am working on that problem of getting it to the third world countries and getting them treated as well.
Certainly.
It's a huge undertaking. Did I answer both parts of that question?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. And another question as well you knocked out. So you mentioned myths, Deron.
Yes.
Can you talk about the impact on women, infertility, and the side effects that have been identified during the trial period and since the vaccine has been administered?
There are in ongoing studies in pregnancies. The general recommendation is women of childbearing age that are pregnant are likely, if they do come down with COVID-19, that they won't have any complications. So right now there's no recommendations unless there's other underlying conditions that would warrant like an OBGYN to vaccinate that. But we don't have any science on pregnant women. Children under the age of 16, we do have a study now going down to the age of 12. But those, pediatrics and pregnancies are always areas that we start low and go slow. I did want to jump in quick about that anti-vaxxer statement. Mm-hmm. I've been giving vaccines for a long time, and I've had cocktail parties. I don't talk about religion, income, politics, or vaccines. I've added that to my list because the anti-vaxxer movement is very large, but I have not had any run-in when it comes to COVID-19 vaccine. I'm sure it's out there, but hopefully this is going to help us overcome it.
Thank you, Deron. One of the big messages from the Department of Health is that even after the vaccine has been administered, they're recommending staying masked. Could you speak to that?
Masking and social distancing are the two greatest things that we can do after we're vaccinated. Because remember, after vaccination, it's going to take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks for us to get our true immunity built up. There are going to be people around us. We spoke of anti-vaxxers. We spoke of pregnant women, children. Until we can get herd immunity, which is anywhere from 70 to 80% of our population vaccinated, we're looking at the possibility of masking and social distancing. I'm really hoping, by the fall of 21, when kids are going back for the next school year, they can go back without masks and face shields. But it's something we need to continue to do. Just a little aside, we're not seeing any flu cases. Social distancing and masking is helping the spread of virally spread diseases. So it's to say masks and social distancing are probably here to stay for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the flu shot last year and got the flu. So I'm going to combine two questions in one. One, you encourage in your comments individuals who've had COVID to get the vaccine. So we've got a spectrum for you here. One Rotarian wants to know if you've had COVID in the last 2 months, should you get vaccinated? And another one wants to know if you're a long hauler having long-term symptoms after COVID, is a vaccine recommended?
For both cases, they are recommended. We want you to be 60 days out, 2 months out of testing positive, be negative for 2 months, and then get in when it's your turn in the phase. We want you to get in and we want you to get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. So Deron, I don't know if you heard this, but the County of Lancaster announced yesterday, in partnership with 4 major health systems, they're opening up mass vaccination site on March 8th with the ability to deliver 600 jabs an hour if they have the vaccine. A question is, what can our club do to help in vaccinating York County residents?
I've spoken. I've had limited conversations with the health department here in York. They do have working on a plan for mass immunizations as well. So checking with them and seeing what their plan is. But they are planning to do mass immunizations here in York. It's finding the spot. It's, like I said, the Johnson & Johnson's going to be a game changer. So it's finding the spot. It's finding volunteers that are going to be willing to vaccinate, to do the paperwork. There's a ton of not paperwork, it's done online, but you have to submit that the person was vaccinated. That's where we're gaining our information on, the diversity and who's being underserved and who's being served. So it's really, once the announcement of the area doing mass immunizations is seeing what kind of help they need to get that rolled out.
Thank you, Deron. You are doing excellent work for our community, and we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join us here at the Rotary Club of York. We wish you the best for your future, and thank you for keeping your expertise in our community as a native Yorker and Dallastown grad. Deron, we have a book in honor of your speaking to our club today, and that book will be donated to the William Penn High School Library in honor of our Students of the Month. The book is Don't Ask Me Where I'm From. So thank you very much, Deron.
Thank you, and we're always, always available. With questions or concerns, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We get lots of phone calls every day about the vaccine, so we're here to help. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Deron. And Rotarians, we want to let you know that next week our club meeting will feature the State of York County by President Commissioner Rotarian Julie Wheeler. We hope you can join us then. In the meantime, have a safe week. And our closing song is a request by Rotarian Brian Grimm. It is Chuck Berry, You Never Can Tell. Enjoy. Have a wonderful week, all. Thank you.